Welcome to the Ecommerce Marketing Podcast, the highly rated digital marketing podcast that provides weekly digital marketing tips and strategies from some of the world's top digital marketers and e-commerce entrepreneurs that will help you take your digital marketing to the next level. Sit back and enjoy this power-packed episode hosted by Arlen Robinson, who is an e-commerce entrepreneur and digital marketing expert with over 20 years of experience. Hey, e-commerce marketing podcast listener. Are you looking to increase traffic and sales to your website? You can do this by launching your own affiliate program. Just visit getosi.com and sign up for a free trial today. That's getosi.com. Now get ready to hear from your e-commerce marketing expert of the week as they drill down to give you details on marketing strategies that can help grow your business.
Welcome back to the E-commerce Marketing Podcast, everyone. My name is Arlen, and I am your host. And today we have a very special guest, Lamise Butt, who is the SVP of Global Alliances and Channels at Zoovu, where she spearheads strategic technology partnerships and relationships. She has over 10 years of experience in spearheading digital transformation efforts and forging partnerships at companies like Mercedes-Benz UK, Salesforce, and Zoovu. Welcome to the podcast, Lamise.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and thank you for joining us. Yeah, really excited to talk to you today. We're going to be diving deep into a kind of a hot topic these days, really, which is going to be about how D2C and B2B companies are using AI to drive customer engagement. Because, these days, it just seems like we entered into 2023, and then all of a sudden the veil was kind of pulled away from this whole AI technology. And we're like, wait a minute, where was this all these years? And it's really changing a lot of things. And specifically, for e-commerce businesses, there's so much going on and ways to really help drive your customer engagement. So that's what we're going to be kind of talking about today. But before we do get into all that, why don't you tell us a little bit more about your background and, specifically how you got into what you're doing today?
Sure. So, probably the best way to explain my career was probably based on me being a rebel. I know that sounds but I started my own company during college, so college, university. And really that company was kind of based on a fast tech idea, bridging the gap between the brick and mortar kind of old school world and the new thing back then, which was e-commerce, and really how to democratize fashion in the online world. And so I started that company 19, built out kind of the concept, and it really, really did teach me the harsh truths around entrepreneurship, around funding, around kind of moments. This was 15 years ago. And it wasn't what it is today. So, and even still today, we've still got a long way to go, but it just taught me how much I had to give to be heard and to be seen. And all of those lessons have stuck with me throughout my career and really helped guide and steer me to where I am today. But it made me realize how much I knew I wanted to help and be a part of that notion of what was not coined back then, but is now known as digital transformation. But what does that actually mean? And for me, it was never was kind of a destination. It's a journey. And I think that it will continue to be a journey, even on the topics that we're going to talk about today with regards to AI and all of those things. But I just found myself kind of meandering through going into corporate. And as you say, I did some time at Mercedes-Benz, leading digital transformation, car dealerships, signing off cars with pen and paper, moving towards this digital world. How can we now sell cars online? All of these things that are quite archaic. How do we get them to be more forward thinking? And that was kind of my corporate time. And then I realized that with this skill set, I wanted to take it to a younger company and a startup and really apply all of those skills, roll up my sleeves. As a kid, I was one of those children that didn't like Barbie dolls. I loved Lego. And so I think it was probably a prime place for me to understand that I like to build things, and a good place for me to apply those skills. So I joined Zoovu back in 2017. I was number 2 UK office, and we grew the company over the course of 3.5. The pandemic was a real moment for us, like I'm sure it was for most companies. We started that year thinking, my gosh, are we gonna survive this? We're gonna get through it. And it turned out to be our best year
Oh,
ever.
wow.
So, it was, and it was just because everybody was realizing, my God, we need to invest not just in e-commerce, but we need to invest in the right tools in and around e-commerce that are going to help our customers convert. And that's really
Right.
where Zoovu came in for D2C and for B2B. So AI, and kind of as it pertains to e-commerce and digital transformation, but really, I feel like the peaks and the troughs. So I kind of say in the corporate world, you need to understand what it takes to be in a corporate, the multiple layers of approvals and the lack of agility, but then being able to kind of have this fresh energy, this adrenaline that you get in a startup. That's really where I am now, and what I enjoy.
Gotcha. Well, that's some awesome stuff. Thank you for sharing that for sure. It's that's some incredible growth in just a few years. And you mentioned a couple things, like you said, you started off the year when the pandemic hit, where you thought it was just going to be, very tough and challenging, but it turned out to be your best year yet. And yeah, a lot of companies definitely prospered for sure. A lot of companies, specifically in the kind of e-commerce space, the marketing space. My company as well, OSI Affiliate Software. Yeah, we saw some of our biggest numbers yet at that time as well, just because there was such a spike of people that had e-commerce businesses, e-commerce brands that said, okay, wait a minute, we've got no choice but to get our act together. How are we going to drive sales to our online store? And that's kind of where our stuff came into play. And I know a lot of other businesses that had different types of solutions that kind of were in this whole e-commerce ecosystem that also did very well. So, it was fortunate and unfortunate, unfortunate that, the whole world was shut down, for such an extended period. Fortunate that it really ushered in a new world, I guess you can say, where businesses that may have waited or had been waiting to kind of get their act together with regards to e-commerce and marketing online, and they were really forced to, because it's hard to say what really would have happened. A lot of businesses, of course, went under, but we got to think about, as time moves on, technology is moving on, things are changing. What would have happened if the pandemic didn't happen? And we've kind of come into this new world. We've got this AI, we've got all of this technology. So I think, it kind of happened the way it was supposed to happen. The businesses that weren't really ready and didn't have things in place just, didn't survive, but, of course thrived. But, it's just kind of is what it is at this particular point. Well, you mentioned a couple key things, of course, when you're talking about your background and how your interest in utilizing AI has really kind of been kind of on the forefront of your mind, as prior to you working at Zoovu, as well as what you were doing prior to that, even with Mercedes-Benz. And so what I want to start off with is kind of a top level view of really what you think and how you feel AI is changing e-commerce marketing really in general. How is it changing this landscape specifically for, D2C brands and B2B companies? Just,
For
kind of a
sure.
1,000-foot view.
I think, as you say, kind of that airplane view, AI, it's no longer that black box, right?
Yes.
We kind of lived in a world for many years where we could use it as a buzzword. Companies were just throwing it out there to say,
Yeah.
we're an AI company. But actually,
Right.
as a community, as a market, we are all becoming more educated and well versed on what AI actually is. And I think for marketers, it's super exciting time if used in the right way. This can really transform your business. And you're probably asking, well, how? And I guess probably the easiest way is if I set the scene of just thinking about when I go into a store, a brick and mortar store, and let's just say I'm looking for a laptop. The salesperson that I'm speaking to, most likely trained, gets continuous training, and probably pretty experienced and knowledgeable about the product set. When you think about the conversation that I'm about to have with that salesperson, they're going to be asking me kind of all of the right questions, the qualifying questions that would get me to the right product. They're not going to ask me technical specifications, but they're going to ask, do I travel a lot? Do I like to store things on my laptop? Am I going to be using it for work or personal? Maybe if I'm at school, I'll be using it for studying. But all all of that knowledge that you get in that conversation is incredibly powerful to be able to reuse, to be able to help, if your return customers when they come back. So if you imagine a world where actually that human conversation could not only be digitized, but it could be recorded, it could be tracked, and it could help retain customers and actually recommend further products to them along the line. Actually, we're now living in a world where we can increase revenues online and in store, but also we can increase basket size because we can actually think about what's associated with those products. Because right now, e-commerce is a library, it's an index of products. There are ways to merchandise the site based on things that they've clicked on before. But if you think about discovery and what it is customers are actually looking for, you really need to be asking the questions to draw out the right product for your customers. And so from an AI perspective, I think there's a real opportunity for marketers to truly deeply understand their customers using AI to help future-proof their businesses.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you're totally right, because like you said, everyone's e-commerce store, it's really just like an index or database of products. And we've got that information as far as what's been sold, when it's been sold, what are some of the kind of the peaks and valleys of the sales cycle, and then getting down to the customer level, which customers are, getting these types of products. And so that's really where like you said, the power of AI comes into play, of being able to kind of analyze all of this, make those recommendations at the right time, and then, you getting the right tools to connect with those customers, and so that they come back to the store. And so, yeah, it's interesting. Like you said, prior to, I guess like just this year, even last year, really companies were using the term AI. It was just like, oh, okay, yeah, AI, yeah, right. And artificial intelligence, was more just a buzzword where there wasn't a lot of depth to it. They may have had some type of bot automations, but it was more just a robotic type of responses to answers in your chat bot.
Right.
That's really all it was. It was just kind of some keyword matching type of thing. Maybe like, I guess Google on steroids, so to speak.
Yeah.
That's really all it was.
Yeah.
But now it's the real deal, as we've all seen in these past few months. And so, yeah, it's a great opportunity for businesses to take advantage of it. And what I was saying is, now that we've got the ability to do these things, and all of these things can happen, like the question that I think a lot of businesses are going to have is, okay, how do I make this happen for my business? What do I do? So what are some specific AI tools or technologies that you believe are essential for, just modern e-commerce marketing today?
Well, I think if you're in e-commerce, and if you have a web shop for B2B, or you have a D2C audience, and you kind of have an e-commerce presence, the goal is to simulate the customer experience that your customers are having, whether it's with the salesperson in store, or whether it's the sales rep that they're calling over the phone, kind of building that bond, that bill of materials in the B2B world. We're consumers, right? And as a consumer myself, I still feel frustrated. Anytime I go online, most of the time, I'm going to a wedding over the weekend and I need an outfit. Honestly, I don't have the time to sift through pages and pages and pages of dresses. If you could just ask me the right questions, I'm going to a wedding, it's probably going to be quite hot, I'd like something with, and, understand my needs and recommend me the right set of products. And guess what? I will purchase. But if you leave me there searching for too long on my own, I will drop off, and I'll probably go to a competitor, or I'll probably go, in store. And the truth of the matter is that actually we need to be understanding what our customers are needing and looking for. And the only way that we're going to do that is through a series of discovery. And when you pair that with kind of AI, it's the continuous learning that exists through AI, and then pairing that with discovery that becomes incredibly powerful. So I think regardless of whether it's, say, D2C and they're looking for laptops, it might even be washing machines, you want to be able to meet customers where they are. You want to be able to gather their needs and understand them so that they feel seen and heard, and then recommend the right product for them, so that actually you're going to reduce your returns and your customer is probably going to come back to you because they had such a great experience.
Well, thanks for responding on that, Lamise. And that's a great example of what you said, especially your experience at the Walgreens store, or I guess it's called Walgreens here in the US. But when you were working over time, you said your initial experience with the gentleman who was purchasing some perfume for his husband, you didn't know what to sell him, you didn't know what the preferences were, anything like that. But over time, as you started dealing with people, you were learning these things and you became a better salesperson. And that's really the power of this AI, and how you're going to be able to really fill your data sets over time by having these dynamic interactions and the conversations. And so I think that was a great kind of real world example too, as how we as humans, process information and grow and evolve. Now we have the AI that is going to be able to do the same thing, utilizing all of these tools. And so really, really powerful stuff. And I'm just really excited to see where this is all going, which actually leads me to my next question, where I wanted to see, where do you really see all of this AI technology in e-commerce, or how do you see it evolving in the near future? And are there any emerging trends that our listeners and viewers should really be aware of?
Well, I think first and foremost, that it's probably obvious that if you're not on the AI train already, you're probably behind. But I think my advice would be to kind of educate yourself on what AI can actually mean for your business specifically. And what I would strongly suggest is not actually to lead with AI, but actually lead with the value that your version of AI is going to bring to your customers. So for example, for us, we're a market leading discovery platform that has AI in our product, and it connects your customers to the products that are right for them. So it's just about, thinking from a value perspective, keeping the customer at the heart of everything that you do. How can AI help our business and help from an e-com perspective, help our customers more? So I think that also in terms of emerging trends, what we're seeing in e-commerce is that actually, we spoke about it before, that e-commerce websites, web shops are the index, they're the library of products. So how can we ensure that those websites don't get left behind as we're starting to see the surge in social shopping, as we're starting to see that earlier on in that discovery funnel, people are now actually converting through TikTok, people are now converting through Instagram? How can we ensure that your website is still the heartbeat of your brand, of your business? And I think that this is where having the right AI tools and technologies as a part of that can come into play, because your customers are then coming to the brand experience for that best customer experience.
Yeah. That's really what it comes down to. And that really does always have to be the focus, is just the customer experience and your product. Yeah, of course, AI is going to be very useful to guiding customers along their journey, and kind of, I guess you can say, lessening the time that they're in your sales funnel, and getting them what they need quicker than they have in the past. That's kind of the key thing there. But I think you can't lose sight as a company and as a brand what the core things are, which is just, what is that customer's experience like? How is it once they get the product? How are the products? Yeah, you don't want to get too caught up in all of these things that are emerging, and then lose sight of really the core things, and which I think a lot of times can happen with a brand. They get kind of caught up in the bells and the whistles and all of this emerging technology, and they lose sight into what they do best, which is just providing that particular product. So yeah. Well, Lamise, as we get ready to wrap things up, I wanted to see if you can talk about some ways specifically that Zoovu's clients, actually, or any clients that you can mention, have creatively used or are using AI to drive engagement and just increase their conversions.
Totally. So probably the best example I could give you is Bosch Power Tools. So, I recently wanted to renovate, and again, I think the easiest way to tell some of these stories is obviously through contextualizing kind of your own personal stories, but being able to drill holes in the wall. Quite frankly, you'll probably laugh at me, but it doesn't come naturally to me. And so I needed to buy and purchase a power tool, and I had absolutely no idea which was going to be the right power tool to drill through this wall. Some of them are brick walls, some of them are MDF walls, and I don't know, which is the right drill part to be able to get through. How many millimeters do I need? How thick does it need to be? And all of those things. Bosch Power Tools understood that their customers were struggling to purchase these products online. They were typically going in store and having that conversation one-to-one with a sales rep. And so they actioned Zoovu to be able to kind of have these digital guided selling conversations for their customers on their website. And instantly they were seeing a huge uptick in conversions, not only conversions, but increased cart size, because we're not only recommending the power tool, but we're recommending all of the associated products that go with it. And the truth is that as a customer, if you feel heard and if you feel like your needs have been absorbed and you've been recommended a product based on that knowledge, there's trust built, just like you would with a sales rep. And so if that trust is there, and then you've been recommended 3 or 4 additional products that are going to go with the product that you need, the likelihood is you're going to purchase them, because the trust is there, the engagement is there. And so you've then got a boost in cart value, and you're going to reduce your returns, because the likelihood is they're not going to need to return it because it's the right product for them. And so Bosch Power Tools were able to see this on their brand website and very quickly realized, my gosh, okay, this is exactly what our customers need. And through the Zoovu platform, what we're able to do is what we call syndicate. So we syndicate these guided selling discovery experiences to any retailer that sells Bosch products. So we could be talking any retailer globally, pushing these experiences onto those retailer websites to ensure that any Bosch customer is getting a standardized Bosch Power Tools experience wherever they're shopping. And this was just transformational for Bosch Power Tools. Obviously, that's a B2C example, but if you think about B2B, right, and you think about a company like, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the company Draeger, but they are a medical device manufacturer. They serve in over 190 countries, and ultimately Draeger save lives with their products. So Draeger equipment you will probably find in every hospital in the world. X-ray machinery and all of those things, they are what the firemen wear when they're going into the burning houses, and it's that equipment that keeps them safe. To be able to purchase these Draeger products, typically you would have to call the Draeger sales rep and sit on the phone for 90 minutes to be able to build kind of that series of products. And with Zoovu, we've now ingested all of that product data, all of their compatibility rules, associated products, and these are configurable products. So there's a real layer of complexity added here. So we're taking all of that content and then humanizing it for a discovery conversation. So we've now transformed kind of this B2B world where e-commerce selling on the eShop was borderline impossible unless you really knew which part you were looking for and all of the configurable elements. Now we can actually have this guided selling best salesperson conversation online. And again, Draeger are just seeing great results in terms of conversions, cart size, and also huge engagement, which just shows how customers and buyers want to shop in this market.
Yeah, those are some awesome examples, on the standpoint of Bosch. Traditionally, like you mentioned, buying a particular power tool, these types of hardware devices and tools are usually something that, you want to put your hands on, you want to see it, you want to kind of feel it, you want to try it. And to be able to utilize this technology to service customers, in particular prospects online, is really astounding, where people are comfortable making these decisions, just from the comfort of their own home without actually going into these hardware stores and the like. And then and the same thing with the and these large medical devices, where normally you would have a medical salesperson go out, meet with the staff, meet with the person that makes the buying decisions, come out with a demo or a scaled down version of these products, and they want to try it out. But we've gone, that just goes to show how far we've gone, where years ago that was the way. You had to go out, a salesperson had to go out, they had to maybe take a component of the product, show it, get the people to touch and feel it. But nowadays, because of this technology and the way that it can interact with prospects, it can be easily done virtually and online. So that's some really powerful stuff. And thank you for those solid testimonials that you have there. Well, this has been an awesome conversation, Lamise. I've had a pleasure speaking with you, and I've learned a ton, and I know our listeners and our viewers have as well. And so it's going to go a long way with assisting people as they kind of make that transition into AI and to how they can increase their customer engagement using it. But before we do let you go, I always like to switch gears just so our audience can get to know you a little bit better. So if you don't mind sharing one closing fun fact about yourself that you think we would be interested to know.
Fun fact. Well, I guess I don't know how fun this is. I mean, for me, it's quite fun. But obviously, all of this work over the last decade and longer of kind of building your career in this space, in the tech space, and being able to create a community around that is something that I've really wanted to do. And so probably not a fun fact, but maybe more of like an interesting fact. I have started a community called Blood, Sweat and Tech. And it's really just a community of ambitious humans that get together, and the goal really is to help each other kind of in this industry as we kind of get through the AI phases and the generative AI phases and ChatGPT, and what's going to come next. But it's just a place for us all to build a community and connect in this digital world.
Okay, that's awesome, and I love that name, Blood, Sweat, and Tech. So, thank you for sharing that. That sounds like something that's very timely, especially as we're going through all of these changes, and it kind of, just the name of that kind of reminds us that even though we have all of this technology, this AI, there's all these talks about the dark side of AI. It's that name of that community kind of humanizes everything, and it gets us to think that we're still human, and we're really just utilizing this technology to better our human lives. And we always have to remember that at the end of the day, it's really all these things can make our lives better. And as long as we keep that in the forefront, I think everything will be fine. So community there, and thank you for sharing that. Lastly, before we do let you go, if you don't mind letting us know the best way for our listeners and viewers to contact you if they want to pick your brain anymore about customer engagement through AI technologies or kind of anything under the sun.
Yeah, I mean, LinkedIn's probably the best place. Super active on LinkedIn, so drop me a message. But also Blood, Sweat and Tech on Instagram. It's a growing community, so you can find me in either of those places.
Okay, that is awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. We'll also have the direct link to your company's website, Zoovu, directly in the show notes, so people can check out what you guys have to offer as well. Well, it's been awesome again talking to you, Lamise. I've definitely had a pleasure, and I've learned a ton, and we really appreciate you coming on today onto the E-commerce Marketing Podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to the E-commerce Marketing Podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and share it with everyone you know. Are you looking to take your digital marketing to the next level but are tired of wading through countless YouTube videos with unproven and untrusted marketing strategies? Well, we have the answer for you. The More Sales Every Month online digital marketing course. In this information-packed course, you will learn effective keyword research, link building, content marketing, and much more to attract and convert your site visitors into paying customers. Just go to moresaleseverymonth.com and sign up today for a low one-time fee. In addition to this power-packed course, if you would like to get access to a growing repository of digital marketing articles, PDFs, and ebooks, check out getosi.com/resources and opt in to get full access to our library of priceless marketing information to help you take your digital marketing to the next level.